Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about WWE Royal Rumble Part 2. And you might be watching this and thinking, why are you gonna talk about Royal Rumble again? And why Part 2? Okay, why Part 2? Because they added more matches, more or not a lot of matches. They only added 2 matches. And last time when I recorded talking about the Royal Rumble, I only talk about the matches they had before. So now they added two, just two. And it's hard to record this with this headset. I can barely hear myself, guys. It's hard to hear myself. There I hear myself. There I don't. Anyway, let's talk about Royal Rumble. Let's start now. Okay. We're gonna talk about the match they added. They added single match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Carmella. Single match. Predictable. Sasha Banks is still gonna win. She's still gonna defeat Carmella. Sasha Banks, she's gonna hold the title for a while, maybe for 1 year or so. Who knows? Because she always not last with the title. So maybe this time she's gonna take it to WrestleMania, and maybe at WrestleMania, depending who Sasha Banks face at WrestleMania, maybe she could retain it. If it's Sasha Banks versus whoever, Sasha Banks gonna retain it. I give you an example. If it's Sasha Banks versus Natalie, Sasha Banks is still gonna win. If it's Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey may win. Ronda Rousey will defeat Sasha Banks. We all know that. So like I said, all depends who versus who it is. If it's Sasha Banks versus somebody chaffo, like Natalie or somebody not good enough, Sasha Banks is gonna retain the women's champion at WrestleMania. But if it's somebody good, she will lose it. We all know that. So we all know Sasha Banks gonna retain it. Or who knows, maybe she's gonna be champion for 1 year. Because if you guys notice, the women's champion always lasts for 1 year most of the time. Look, before, say Sasha Banks lasts the women's champion for 1 year. Before her was Bailey. Then now it's Asuka. Asuka's almost gonna be 1 year with the Raw women's champion, almost for 1 year. Almost. And before her, it was Kohama. Before Asuka was Becky Lynch. I couldn't remember her name. Becky Lynch. Before Asuka, it was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was long as the Raw Women's Champion. Before Becky Lynch, every year, the women's last the title for 1 year. I remember Nikki Bella. She was the Raw Women's Champion. She had the title for 1 year. I think it was the Divas Champion back then, or the women's. I don't remember, but she lasted with the title for 1 year. I can barely hear myself, guys. For 1 year. I'm gonna leave it a little bit cracked so I can hear myself. For 1 year. For 1 year, she had it. Nikki Bella. And I think Ronda Rousey, she had the title for 1 year too. Maybe, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, so it all depends who Sasha Banks will defend the title at WrestleMania. If it's against whoever, she's gonna retain. If it's somebody important, she loses. So Sasha Banks is gonna win. Predictable. Carmella, I don't think she's gonna win the title. Or if she does, not anytime soon. Maybe after WrestleMania, maybe at SummerSlam, Carmella wins the title. They just repeat the same women's anyway. They always repeat Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Carmella, and Charlotte, and Asuka. Those five. Sasha Banks, Bayley, Carmella, and Ronda Rousey, Asuka, and Charlotte. Oh, actually, Ronda Rousey, they haven't repeated yet, but eventually they're gonna go back to Ronda Rousey. Wait and see. Talking about Ronda Rousey, let's go to the Women's World Rumble match, right? The first time I said that Kosama, damn, keep forgetting the names. It's the Alexa Bliss. First I said she was gonna win the Women's World Rumble match. Nah, I don't see Alexa Bliss winning the World Rumble match. I think it's gonna be either one, whoever, random, we're not gonna care about, or Ronda Rousey. If it's not Ronda Rousey coming back, if she comes back, she wins. If it's not Becky Lynch coming back, if she comes back, she wins. If it's not Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and it's not Charlotte Flair, then it's just gonna be random, whoever. We're not gonna care about who wins the Women's World Rumble. It will be pointless. So it needs to be one of them. If it's not Charlotte, it needs to be Ronda Rousey. I think I have a feeling it's gonna be Ronda Rousey. So we could see a rematch. Asuka did we see that match before, Asuka versus Ronda Rousey? I don't remember. So we could see probably Ronda Rousey. If she wins the World Rumble, she's gonna be versus Asuka. I don't see it versus Sasha Banks, because they be like, no, let Sasha Banks retain her WrestleMania, or maybe Asuka still retains it versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. But I don't see Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks for WrestleMania. I will see Ronda Rousey versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Champion. And talking about the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka has not been defending the title, I guess because she's concentrating on defending the Women's Tag Team Champions. So I guess so. Talking about that. So yeah, the Women's World Rumble, I think Ronda Rousey. If it's not Ronda Rousey and it's not Charlotte Flair, it's just gonna be whoever. I don't care. Anyway, let's move on. The Men's World Rumble match, I already said it on the last video, Daniel Bryan. But I thought of it. If it's not Daniel Bryan winning, maybe Brock Lesnar. So we can see Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. A rematch. I hate rematches, and WWE has been doing that. Or if it's Goldberg winning the title, maybe it's Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania again. We're gonna see matches repeating again. Hopefully we don't get to see Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar rematch for the title at WrestleMania like last year. Most likely one of those matches we're gonna see rematch, because WWE, they don't have no one else bigger. They just need to repeat rematches, and over the years we always get a rematch. So maybe the Men's World Rumble, if it's not Daniel Bryan winning it, maybe it's Brock Lesnar, because I heard he's coming back. If it's not Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan winning the World Rumble, it's just gonna be whoever, right? We're not gonna care about. But if it's Daniel Bryan, will be versus Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns will defeat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Predictable. But if it's Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg for the Raw WWE Champion, we're not gonna care, because it'll be like both of them are part-timers. Goldberg is kind of more part-timer than Brock Lesnar. We've seen that match before. Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, especially Goldberg's old. Yeah, Sue H is too old, especially if it's Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. I'll be like again. So one of those matches is gonna happen. So those that I think is gonna win the Royal Rumble down Bryan, Brock Lesnar, or somebody else. We don't care about. Okay, now let me talk about the women's tag team match for the women's champion. Asuka and Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Sonya Blazer. I think either one, Charlotte is gonna lose the women's tag team champions. They're gonna lose the title because of Charlotte, maybe. But maybe it's too soon. Maybe if it gets closer to WrestleMania, right now it's too soon. But all depends because maybe we need new champions tonight. If everyone retains, I give you example, Sasha Banks retains, Roman Reigns retains. What champion we're gonna get that is new? Nothing, because there's no other title matches. Maybe the United States champion on the kickoff show they haven't added yet, but maybe because Matt, the other guy, Matt, whatever his name is, he's number one contender. I don't remember his last name, but he's got the opportunity versus Bobby Lashley. So maybe to the end of the World Rumble and a kickoff, who knows? I don't know what they're gonna add in a kickoff, but maybe today or in the next pay-per-view, who knows? But everyone sees it coming. If it's not the winner of the World Rumble versus Asuka, maybe the winner of the Women's World Rumble is versus Sasha Banks for WrestleMania. Who knows? If it's not, it's Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. Everyone sees that coming. Everyone, the whole world. I've been watching YouTube videos, and also before that, when they became the women's champion, tag team champion, the whole universe saw that coming. Now Charlotte, she's gonna turn heel. She wants the women's champion close to WrestleMania. Especially Charlotte always gets the opportunity for the women's champion at WrestleMania, always. So maybe starting tonight at the World Rumble, Charlotte gets pinned, not Asuka, Charlotte. So Asuka and Charlotte loses the women's tag team champions to Nia Jax and Sonya Blazer. Then Asuka and Charlotte starts to hate each other, starts the story. So when it gets too close to WrestleMania, they face each other. But before they face each other, say they have a rematch, they're not hate each other that quickly yet. Maybe in the next paper, what is it, Fastlane, Elimination Chamber? I'm not sure. I think it's Elimination Chamber next month on February. Say a rematch, it's Asuka and Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Sonya Blazer for the women's tag team champion. The rematch. But Sasha Banks, I was gonna say. Charlotte gets pinned again. Then Asuka is angry of Charlotte Flair. I can barely hear myself. Asuka's angry at Charlotte for getting pinned and not being concentrating and everything. So they start to hate each other. The story, Asuka versus Charlotte. So maybe we see that match. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And talking about WrestleMania, I think at WrestleMania is going to be friend versus friend. Former friend enemies for WrestleMania. I've been thinking that since last year, since before 2021 started. I've been talking that to my brother. We've been talking about that for months and months. We've been thinking, this match is going to be for WrestleMania, friend versus friend, former friend, rivalries, fighting at WrestleMania. So maybe talking about WrestleMania, let me forget, maybe they're going to have The Miz versus John Morrison, because maybe The Miz is going to cashing his Money in the Bank briefcase today at the Royal Rumble, and it's not gonna work, then the Miz gonna be like, "Damn, I lost the Money in the Bank contract because of you, John Morrison. It's all your fault. You always tell me cash it in, cash it in, cash it in, and I lost. Where were you? Because of you, you screwed me." So they're gonna start hating each other. So, and for the Miz, and besides, just to have the Miz versus somebody, because technically the Miz, when he has a match at WrestleMania, it's versus whoever. And sometimes he does have a match at WrestleMania, to be honest. So maybe it is John Morrison versus the Miz. But what for? Nothing's gonna be on the line, so I will not care. I will not care. Nothing will be on the line. It's not like the Miz defends the WWE Champion versus John Morrison. I doubt it. I doubt it. The Miz will be champion versus John Morrison versus at WrestleMania for the WWE title. I doubt it. I already talked about the Man Royal Rumble in the last video. Right now also the women's already talked about it. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. I already talked about it in the last video, but I still think Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens and the last man standing for the WWE Universal Champion. I'm sorry if I'm talking that fast and quick. I got used to talking that quick, and because I can barely hear myself, so sorry, okay? If I'm screaming, I'm sorry. I'm still new to these headsets. So, what I said last time, what I think about Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, we all know, the whole world knows it's predictable. Roman Reigns will retain the WWE Universal Champion versus Kevin Owens. Predictable. Now that it's the last man standing, now I thought of it, it's gonna end by BS. Bullshit ending. It's gonna end in a no contest. You know why? WWE has been doing that for years. And a last man standing, they always end in a draw tie. You know why? I give you why. Because they want Kevin Owens to not lose this match. So if it's a tie, they're both knocked out. Kevin Owens technically did not lose. He didn't win. So they don't want Kevin Owens to lose again. So it's going to end by a draw. They're both going to be knocked out. So it's going to end by a bullshit. Both are going to be knocked out and end by that category I mentioned. It's going to end by bullshit. BS. Double knocked out. Double last man standing. So that's what I said, because WWE has been doing that for years and years. They always come out with that stupid double last man standing bullshit. They always do that. It's not the first time, guys. Look it up. It's on the WWE Network. Has happened before. Okay, I already talked about Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. Drew McIntyre. This is a 50-50. Goldberg may win the title just for Goldberg versus somebody bigger than Drew McIntyre for WrestleMania. Unless it's Drew McIntyre wins, so it could be versus Brock Lesnar rematch. Who knows? It could be 50-50. It could be Drew McIntyre winning. Goldberg could be winning. 50-50. Either or. It could be. But if it's Goldberg versus somebody important, what is Drew McIntyre going to do for WrestleMania if he loses the title tonight? What is he going to do for WrestleMania? Who knows? Would he go back down again? Who knows? Who knows? And Sasha Banks already said. So yeah, that's all. And they don't have other matches. They don't. I guess we're going to see other matches until the next pay-per-view, like AJ Styles or other Sami Zayn or Big E for the Intercontinental title. They don't have other matches. Those the matches they have only 6, and they barely added Sasha Banks versus Carmella for the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. Obviously, we're seeing that coming, and they added for the Women's Tag Team Champions Asuka and Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Sonya Blazer. So yep, That's what I think for my Royal Rumble prediction thoughts too. So thanks for everyone that's watching my videos, and thanks everyone that subscribed to my videos. Thanks everyone. I very appreciate it for you to the ones that subscribe. Okay? So if you're new, subscribe to my video. What are you waiting for? And hit that like button and hit that notification bell before you leave my videos. So yep, guys, take care and be safe, okay? Talk to you guys later. Today is Royal Rumble, okay? Peace, gotta go.